Hi there and welcome to Mom Babes, where every mom is a babe. And if you're like, Christina, I don't feel like a babe because
this is day 6 hair,
then this channel is especially for you. I make videos for moms who are creatives, and if you're like, I'm not a creative, that's a lie, because raising a live human being is the most creative thing that there is. I would love it if you would subscribe to the channel, come hang out with me every Thursday, and if you ding the bell, you can get notified each time I release a new video. So today I'm so excited. I have my sister-in-law here, Whitley, with me. So if you've watched previous videos, you know I have two brothers, Caleb and Joshua. This is Caleb's wife, Whitley.
Hello.
They got married 2022, so you're coming up
on
year and a half? Two,
yeah.
Oh yeah,
So you just 3 years of marriage.
Crazy. My how time flies.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm so excited to have Whitley on the show because she is a new mom. So tell them how old you are and how old your baby is.
I'm 23.
Yeah.
My daughter Florence just turned 8 months old.
Okay. And Flo is the stinking cutest thing ever. In our family so far in this generation, there's only boys, so we're super excited to have a girl and have that feminine flair. What you have learned so far, how you've noticed yourself change, how your world has changed, kind of your transition into motherhood.
So I think pre-Florence, I was incredibly just very planned all the time, and my days were like so funny, like just incredibly on schedule. And I think if being a parent, especially if Florence has taught me anything, it's absolutely how to relax and just kind of not everything's gonna go according to plan. Florence herself was not the plan.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, Caleb and I had only been married for 11 months, and we had planned on being married for at least 2 years before doing kids, and the plans changed. Mm-hmm. And so now we have Flo, and that just has kind of been the testament of her whole being in our lives is, oh, the plan's changing. So it's time to pick up and move with that, because you can't do anything about it now, and just the blessings that follow that, because I would not change that timeline for the world now. I feel like it's been perfect.
Tell us what your day looks like your average day. What are you guys up to?
So our average day, Flo normally wakes up between 7:30 and 9, which if she's not awake, I'm not waking her up.
Yeah.
If she's sleeping, cool. That's great. Do more of that. And we always start with bottle and snuggles in bed. She always, every morning, ends up in bed, whether it's just me or whether it's me and Caleb. She ends up back in bed with us. And we have slow mornings as often as we can. I feel like it's when we get the most quality time with her. She's climbing all over us, or we bring toys in bed, or just snuggles and bottles. It's my favorite part of the day.
Aw, that's sweet.
After that, it's a toss-up. I feel like every day is different of what it's going to look like, just kind of what her demeanor is, or if we have plans. I'm a stay-at-home mom that doesn't love staying at home, and so I'm generally trying to get out of the house to do something. If we are at home, it's just, that good old rotation of eat, play, sleep.
Maybe wash dishes or laundry or something in between.
We get into it, yeah. It's so funny, there's this list of things that you say that you're going to do before you have kids, and then you have the kids, and it's, oh, none of that's actually happening. For me, that was one nap in a crib a day, and a strict schedule, neither of which have worked out with this specific child. With her, I've always been like, all right, I'm going to get on a schedule. Tomorrow, like, or I'm gonna put her down for a crib nap. But look, like, she's so sweet and squishy, and this is just such sweet time. That's general irritation of that. Eat, play, sleep, always with me.
Yeah.
Now that she's mobile, now she's crawling, dishes and laundry happen much less, because she's quiet. Where is she? What are you gonna or I can try to do laundry, but she also likes my piles.
Yeah.
So she's gonna be in my piles too.
And sucking on her shirt, oh, now we're rewashing that.
Yeah. Her favorite thing, she loves to in my piles, and it's really cute, but I'm working in reverse.
Yeah, it's not conducive to actually accomplishing anything.
No, putting anything in a drawer. She's learned how to open drawers
already.
Yeah, so all the drawers in
my
our room, she's pulling them out. So even yesterday, I was trying to put all of her clothes back, and she pulls the drawer open. And she looks in.
Oh my gosh.
And it's one hand, two
oh my
hand,
gosh.
three.
She's way too young for that. She's very curious.
She's been kicking my rear end with her milestones because I feel like she's always just
a little
bit earlier than what I was expecting. And so it was like we rounded the corner I set her down in her crib and I run out to do something because I'm like, the crib's a safe spot for you to be. Around the corner and she's pulled up. She's not even 6 months old yet. She's pulled up on the bars. And I said, you need to sit down on your bottom, man. Find your pockets. I'm not ready.
Your pockets.
I'm not ready for this. Like,
oh, Whitley taught kindergarten for a while too. So there you go.
Find your pockets. It's the cleanest way to say sit on your bottom.
Caleb and Whitley met each other at college and then had kind of a whirlwind romance. I mean, there are faster ones, but you guys pretty much were like, yep, we knew this. And the thing that I've always known about my brother Caleb is he wanted to have kids and have a family, and Whitley obviously loves children too. So it's cool that you guys found each other, and now Whitley's part of our family, whether she wants to be or not. We're 5 siblings, so we're a little crazy, but Whitley's such a good sport.
Coming from one older brother, 7 years older than me, so he was out of the house by the time I was in middle school. It definitely crazy. Like, it's just been for so long, just like me and my parents at home. And when I come over for holidays, it's like there's so many conversations happening at one time.
I know, and we have a bad habit of talking over each other in my family, and for us it's a sign of intimacy, and for all our spouses it's super annoying and disrespectful. So I'm like, it's we're not trying to be, I always like coach people, like, we're not trying to be mean, we just like, we think this is showing love, and even though it probably doesn't seem loving to other people.
I just remember somebody was like, Whitley's so quiet, and I was like, I didn't know I could talk.
No one stops talking in this family. How do you, with this little 8-month-old, try to make time for yourself?
So this one's actually a really hard one for me. I'm an incredibly hyper-focused tunnel vision person, and also a relatively anxious person. And so she's constantly on my brain. And so even now I find myself trying to find her. She's where is she? What's she doing?
There's so we're at family vacation. Caleb and Whitley came. We're in Branson. If you watch a previous video, then there's some backstory on that. But there's a window here, and she's on the other side of the glass window.
I'm even finding myself subconsciously trying to look for her when I know she's totally fine. And so I would say I had a really hard time prioritizing anything for myself, probably until the 7-month mark. 6-7 month mark. Now it's just been learning that when I need help to ask for it, or if I need
I still don't do that. So if you can learn that, then you're ahead of me. I'm so bad at that.
Especially with husbands, and this is something that I feel is really common amongst marriages, especially when you have kids into the picture. There's this expectation that your husband just knows how to give you what you need, or how to give you that mom relief that you need. And I found that they're really just not thinking about it, and it's not anything bad. They're just thinking about other things. And so for me, it's if I need an hour to watch Law and Order by myself, I need to ask and say, hey, I need some time this afternoon to not be thinking about a baby. Can we make that happen? And that has changed everything. Or I have to go out and speak with adults. So on Saturday, what does that look like for our family? For you to have Flo and for me to go out with a girlfriend? And it really has. I feel just completely rejuvenated. Finally, I will say I could probably ask my husband to do that. Shocking. But not only can I ask him, he's probably going to be oh my gosh, yeah. No, absolutely. Let's do that. He's going to be excited about it.
Yeah, I feel in the first 6 months of newborn life, your life is just unbalanced. There is no really room for you. If you can find room for yourself before that, I feel like you're ages ahead of everyone else. If you are a new mom, you know this, especially if you're, breastfeeding and newborn and weight checks and just trying to figure out, especially as a first-time mom, that first 6 months is just kind of orienting into motherhood. It's such a steep curve. There is no transition. There's no like, oh, I'm a parent for 3 days a week and 4 days a week and now I'm full-time. It's just like no baby to baby, and you don't go to school for it. There is no like, other than what's been modeled for you, and not everybody has a model. You have to kind of figure it out on your own, and it's so interesting.
Right.
That's very optimistic what you're saying, as far as like even being at 8 months, new mom, learning like, oh, I need to ask, because like I said, I'm still not doing that great. And being like a type A planner personality, I think, contributes to that too.
Yeah, I think it just took a long time for me to understand, because they say it all the time, but like when you have time for yourself, you're a better mom and you're a better wife. Mm-hmm. And it took me, like I heard it and I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm sure that's true. Mm-hmm. Like, that doesn't make sense to me, but like I'm sure that's true.
Yeah. And
the first couple of times going out or having some time in the evening to myself, and then being like, oh no, I'm feeling much nicer right now than I would normally be irritable or overwhelmed or overtouched or anything like that. I'm in a great mood. Yeah. Like, I see why people do this.
Yes, yeah.
And kind of getting rid of that mom guilt that you needed a break from your baby.
Yeah.
Because I struggled with for so long, like, what kind of parent am I that I need a break from my kid?
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, how could I even fathom that? And I'm like, oh, okay, this all makes sense now. It's not even necessarily a break from your child, it's a break from the responsibility of being a parent. Like,
or like you said, they're on your brain, like a brain break.
Brain break, because you're always on. And so even an hour to be able to turn off your brain. Yeah. That's why for me, I feel like other people have like hobbies that they enjoy, and for me, I'm like, no, I need to brain rot for like a good, like at least
do nothing
for like a good 30 minutes. And that's like, okay, great. Now what's next?
And it's funny, Whitley and I were talking about this earlier this week, but the stimulus too, it's just the constant noise, or something's always going on, something's being, you're just like, so much stimulus. And my boys are older, and she is an angelic 8-month-old. I have a 1.5 and a 3-year-old, and they are a lot of stimulus. And so you love your kids, but you're like, I just need like silence for a second to like think again, because I'm like, it's like a computer, you're like overloaded, and then you just shut down because you're like too much data.
Yes.
I think that's how I feel sometimes.
For me, it's like, okay, I'm pretty sure if my hair gets pulled one more time, I'm gonna shave it off. I'm gonna have a Britney moment. Like,
what's a Britney moment?
Like in 2007, it's probably a horrible reference to make.
No, I don't know what
she had like this big mental break and she shaved her head in 2007.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and she shaved her head. So I tell Caleb, like, I'm about to have my Britney moment. Like,
I'm
about to shave my head. If
I did not know this.
Yeah, that's probably a horrible
No, I probably have a
reference to make.
No, I have a Britney moment like every day. Like, now I know what to call it.
Like one time, I was just having a moment, and so I decided, you know what, I'm going to trim my own hair. And Caleb said, I'm going to take the scissors from, like, this is getting dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, it turned out fine.
Yeah.
Can't even tell I trimmed my own hair. But yeah, you could have been able to tell. I got lucky.
Like, that's it. This is the end.
Caleb's like, I'm going to lock up all the scissors in the house. You're not allowed to give yourself haircuts. Oh my gosh. He likes my hair when I like my hair, and he knows that if I cut my hair, I won't like my hair. Okay. Which makes his life a little miserable.
Sure.
Yep.
Oh, talk to me about what you feel like has been your biggest challenge in motherhood.
So I've got 2 really big ones for this, and I feel like they kind of go hand in hand. So I mentioned earlier, I'm an extremely anxious person, and all having a child did was like intensify that. Okay. Because now you have this little human that is completely dependent upon you for life, to advocate for them, to keep them safe, and that anxiety was just so heightened. Yeah. And so for me, it's really hard to step back and be like, so actually, the whole world and everybody in it is not trying to harm my baby. Like,
at least most of them.
Most of them. Yeah, most of it isn't. So that's something that Caleb's been really great helping me with. And that, honestly, the longer that I've been a parent, the easier it gets. Like, when she was first born, for the first, like, month, like, I couldn't eat if somebody else was holding her.
I remember you
And it's
talking about this. Yeah.
It's like, that's so, like, it's my family. Like,
Yeah.
they got me to this point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can take her back now. And the longer that she's been here, the more relaxed I've gotten. But I'd say that's definitely a huge hurdle.
Yeah.
For me, is taking a deep breath and going, okay, she's totally fine. Like, people have existed on this earth much longer than this. But then that goes with that is being a new mom in this day and age, it's just the bombardment of information. Especially being on social media or even just like mom groups. Everybody has the best way and the worst way to raise or feed or sleep or whatever for your child. And when you're a new parent, I feel like you are leeching because you want to know. You want to know all the things.
What's the secret?
Yeah, like what's going on. And so like you're like sponging up all this information and everything's contradictory
Or controversial too.
Yes, yeah. So like nothing. Like you can read one person's story and it can be like only baby purees, only cried out method,
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
wear your baby upside down on 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And then somebody else who's like only baby led weaning.
Yeah.
Never let your baby cry.
Yeah.
Like put them out in the sun. Only on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? I didn't even know that was a thing. And so learning how to like navigate all of that and truly learn like what's best for your family, that was so hard to do. Like I would say even for Caleb, like we're just weeding through so much information and you're like, well this study says this.
Yeah.
But now that I have my baby here, that's not working.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't work for her.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'd say that those were the two
Yeah.
biggest challenges.
I'd say that's probably like a newer thing. A little to me, but probably more so to you and like generations beyond you is like the bombardment of information. And we were talking about this earlier too, is like the mom groups and how they get kind of hostile and crazy. And you're like, I just went on to ask this one question and then there's this tangent on something not even related and people are fighting and you're like, what?
I've got 4 scientific studies tagged in the comments now. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that.
Yeah.
It was that deep.
Yeah. I was just asking about a pacifier.
Like, everybody's just so passionate about their babies.
Yeah. Which they should be.
Yeah. It gets.
They're babies,
Sometimes
not your.
Sometimes I wish you weren't so passionate about my baby.
Yeah.
But like, okay.
Yeah. Like tip, trick, or hack or something that has been really helpful for you so far. I know we're still like at the beginning, but something that you have found really helpful.
I feel like I've got like different stuff for different like categories. Something that's really changed the game. I'm somebody who's super overwhelmed by starting solids.
Okay.
I'm not even because of the choking hazard, but just we're trying really hard to feed her well and whole foods.
It's hard.
And then something that Caleb and I are doing that I feel like I don't know anybody else who's done it is we're trying to limit starches for the first year of her life. And it's incredible how quickly you have like 4 foods that they can eat while you're also trying to grow their palate. So something that's really changed the game for me is truly just giving her whatever I'm eating.
Yeah.
So like yesterday we had brats and potato salad and all of that, and so Caleb just ended up cutting up one of the brats for her, and that took so much pressure off of my plate because again I was like, I feel like all I'm giving her at this point is like plain whole milk Greek yogurt, cucumbers, and like chicken.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not really growing her palate the way that we were hoping to.
Yeah.
So we've taken like a modified baby-led weaning approach.
Yeah.
That was another thing. We were really passionate about baby-led weaning, and then shocker, she hates solids.
Yeah.
Like she only wants purees. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But that was a big tip or a big trick for us.
Yeah.
That took the pressure off of starting solids. Actually, I watch a lot of your videos on solids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad they're helpful.
It gets overwhelming.
It's a lot, and like it's the brain space for me too. The food for the kids, because we're similar in that we're doing paleo for the kids up to 2 years, and people are like, how you do that? I'm like, well, it is a lot. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I'm not working 40 hours a week, so there is that. but also it is brain space and prioritization, because it's not just, oh, here, let me feed you this. It's, what are we going to make? Go to the store, get that thing, prepare the thing, like, put it together so they can have it. And then it's also like doing dishes afterwards. And I take a cooler with me pretty much everywhere we go, because we have some kind of vegetable or produce. And some people think that's cumbersome, and it is, but but I'm like, and everyone picks their thing. Like for us, we're like, our kids are going to eat healthy, this is the hill we're dying on. Whereas other people are like, let's do more balance, which, may be better, and then, but they'll die on a different hill. You know what I mean? So it's like, for us, that's what we picked, but a lot of it is like, wait, what do I cook? Or I'll just Google like, green vegetables and see, oh yeah, I forgot zucchinis exist. Yeah. You guys do so good. You do so good with her.
At one point I just Googled like starch-free foods.
Yeah.
And I was like, I forgot that all of these vegetables, because Kayla and I didn't eat super great before baby.
Yeah.
And it was having her that was like, all right. Because we were.
Well, probably if she wants what you want too, you're like, well, I guess we shouldn't be eating.
I told Kayla, I said, I refuse to be the parent that like, here's your carrots, your dad and I are going to have a Big Mac.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot be that parent.
Yeah.
So, all right, so what are we eating for dinner? But no, yeah, it's prep work. I feel like that's so much of having a baby is prep work. Florence is the easiest baby.
She was very relaxed and a good sleeper too.
Oh my
like
word, from
very
the get-go.
naturally. My boys were not, and you guys had such a wonderful experience with her.
Like,
I'm very jealous.
I was just like, what did you do when we were like? Well, I mean, I grew her.
I was pregnant.
Yeah, that was kind of it though.
Yeah.
Because sleeping she does for us. Eating, she does for us. I really don't think I have any tips.
Yeah. No, because you are a young mom. Well, at least much younger than I am, with like kids the same age. Is there any, think about a mom, like how you felt when you were, first becoming a mom, either first found out you were pregnant or right as you're in this newborn experience. Is there anything you would say to that new mom who's kind of younger and transitioning into motherhood?
I think that it's so easy to slip into isolation because, especially nowadays, being a mom under the age of like 25, 26 is, I feel like, almost unheard of. Yeah. Especially, we were living in Tulsa, which is a college town, it's a Christian college town. Yeah. And so a lot of our friends in Tulsa have babies. Not even our friends, we know a lot of people in Tulsa that have babies.
Yeah.
But then we moved to not college town, and Caleb and I, first of all, when people learned that we were even married at 20, I think it was 21 when we moved. At 21, and Caleb was 23 or 24 years old, like, they looked at us like we had two heads. Yeah. Like, what do you guys mean married? Like, you didn't want to enjoy your 20s? We were like, this is us enjoying our 20s. We actually really like each other. Like, it was just crazy, and so that was already isolating. Yeah. And then I learned I was pregnant right before I turned 22. And you thought that you were isolated before that. And having children truly does mean it changes everything. And so for me it was seeking out community that maybe you normally wouldn't seek out. So for us, like, we had to get comfortable, like, with people at church, even though they may be like in their 30s, but they have children our age. Yeah. Like me. And so, like, it's putting yourself out of your comfort zone. But then even more than that, I think it was like reminding myself of the Lord's purpose for me in my life. Because it can get, disappointing isn't the right word, but just in the world that we live in and the culture that we live in. I remember at one point I was in the car with my mom, who was also a young mom. Yeah. And I said, Mom, it just feels like I'm 23, but I feel like I'm living in like a 40-year-old's body. Of like, I'm watching like my friends go out on Friday nights, and dressing like they're 23, and like I have a mom body now, like.
Yeah.
Or like
You don't, but
none of my clothes fit. I should say that.
Sure.
Like, none of my
Yeah,
pregnancy clothes fit. Like my body's changed so much, and like my friends from college have like full-time ministry jobs, and like I'm sitting at home watching Bluey. Like I just feel so out of sorts, and just hearing the Lord just so clearly speak to me about like. That's my purpose for them, and like this is my purpose for you. And looking at the pros of being a young mom instead of the hurdles.
I was about to like go on a whole monologue of like how awesome it is, but
it's like there's so much blessing in this season, and as I've stepped out of what the world is telling me I should be doing at 23 years old, and stepping into what the Lord has told me I'm going to be doing, because we sure weren't looking for babies.
Yeah.
Like something to what the Lord like told us that we were going to be doing at this age. Just the mindset, and even just my mental health, because postpartum that can get crazy. It's been a complete just 180 of.
That is so amazing and insightful. I don't know if you've ever told me this before, but I'm so impressed.
I haven't talked to a lot of people about it. I think it's been pretty
It's something
recent.
I wouldn't think of, but that's so true, that the exact like demographic that you're in at this age, being a young mom in this age, whereas like 100 years ago, everybody was having babies at 13, you know what I mean? So it's just different.
Like the people, I don't think we know anybody that's our age that has had babies on purpose.
Yeah.
Nothing. I don't even know anybody our age that has babies on purpose. But it's just incredible, because Florence really has been just one of the most wonderful blessings that I've ever received in my whole life, and how she's already grown Caleb and I and stretched us. And what I talk about a lot with people, especially newlyweds who end up being pregnant, is Florence has strengthened our marriage more than she's crippled it. And people are always shocked to hear that, because we were married for less than a year. We're so young. They're expecting a baby to like put our marriage in shambles. But it's been the exact opposite. Of the love in our family has just grown exponentially, and the Lord works through your children. And it's all in perspective. It's so easy to get isolated. It's so easy to feel like, oh my gosh, like, not that you've ruined your life, but like, have I ruined my life? Like, this is a 24/7 job, and none of me feels like me anymore. It's not supposed to be looked at like that. Like,
I understand, but on the flip side, so I have friends that are 35 and still not married. They still have this dream of, I want to start a family, I want to have kids, and biologically, modern medicine is amazing, but still once you start hitting 40, you're like, okay, like, it's time to get going, because then it is harder on your body. Hard. Your recovery for a pregnancy is going to be much better than mine is, just because your body's younger, you know what I mean? And this is a thing that I think about now that I never thought about before, because I was so career focused, and this is a very millennial thing, and I think it was a message we were kind of pushed, is you can do anything as a woman, but now it's like you have to do everything. So if you want a career, you have to do that and be a mom too, and
I just got goosebumps.
It's like
being a mom isn't enough.
Yeah, or like, so for me, it's trying to find things like this as a creative outlet, or, whatever, chill, downtime, watching your kid, whatever is your outlet, like, having that in addition to motherhood and letting it be enough in that season. And I don't know, there's a lot of things I shelved for later on in my life, even though at the time I was like, I don't want to shelve this, because your selfishness is like, I want that, but when you have your kids, and people who don't have kids, it's hard for them to understand, but when you have your kids, you're like, no, I want to invest here, I want to be present here, everything else, like, there's no timeline for that. They're only gonna like be here at this age for so long, like, this is the priority. And so it does help shift. But I'm thinking, the reason I talked about that was because I was thinking, like, Whitley's going to be such a young mom, so when your kids are in high school, you're going to be younger, you know what I mean? And then when, Caleb's able to retire, you guys are going to be younger, and so you get to, and even going into you being a grandparent someday, you're going to be a younger grandparent, so you get to see more of your legacy. And so that's the beauty of what you guys did, even though it probably does feel like, is anyone else here with us?
Yeah. It was kind of crazy, like, our best friends I had Florence, and then like I think they got pregnant the month I had Florence.
Yeah.
So we don't feel as quite as alone anymore. But I know that like if that had not happened,
Yeah.
we would be the only people
Yeah.
we know with children. Or
Yeah.
like we just visit our friends from college, and we're like the only people there with a baby. And it was just so like, oh. This is our baby now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fun to have them, like, I watched you guys all hang out. It was fun to have them, like, you brought them into your world, and they all obviously love
Oh my
Florence.
word,
She's adorable.
she's
It's
got
cute.
like the most aunts and uncles out of
Yeah.
any baby that's ever been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that being a young parent can get such a bad rap.
Sure, yeah.
I had young parents.
Yeah.
My parents were older than me, but I had young parents, and being able to grow up with them was such a special
Yeah.
experience. I really am thankful that
Yeah.
it's turned out this way. It was definitely a whirlwind
Yeah.
in the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Because we kind of talked about it, but Caleb and I dated. We went on. We met. Went on our first date that week. Went on 3 dates.
Yeah.
He asked me to be his girlfriend. Within 2 weeks, he had told me that he loved me. We got engaged 9 months later.
Yeah.
Which it's gonna be more shocking to some people. But
Yeah,
some people are gonna hear that and go 9 months.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, it's like a full 9 months.
Yeah.
And we're married.
I've heard crazier.
Yeah,
for
like
sure.
I've heard crazier.
Yeah.
We were married 5 months after that. And then we were only married for 11 months, and now we have a baby. I don't know, it can feel like a whirlwind, but going back and trusting that the Lord knows exactly what He's doing.
Yeah.
And life doesn't happen on accident, even when it is an accident.
Big smile.
People always make me laugh because we're like, this is an accident, and they're like, but God, I'm like, I'm not saying God didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm saying that
I did.
I had an accident.
Living in this time that's kind of unprecedented, you know what I mean, for
It's tough.
those kind of social roles and everything. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate your vulnerability
I
and
liked
being honest.
I think that you said it really nice. Of like you're expected to do everything, like because it was like when the Barbie movie came out,
Yeah.
and there was for some reason this big like frustration with like about how horrible it is that a woman like would be expected
Yeah.
to like just be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And I was like mega pregnant at the time.
Yeah.
I think I was like 8.5 months pregnant. Like I was huge, and I
Yeah.
remember getting in the car with Caleb and being like, just.
Yeah.
Like, what's the frustration with
Yeah.
being seen? And I know it's the idea of like, well, that you can do any of it, and you
Yeah.
can do all of it. But I just don't think that the word just does not
Yeah.
go
No.
in front of a working mom, stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Just doesn't go in front of any of it.
Yeah.
Because even as far as like, I have my degree in family ministry. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like,
And for like, and we could go on and on about that because that's something I'm very passionate about, but like the legacy and the impact that you get to have on these people is beyond anything you ever have in a career. We always talk about, Austin and I are always like, on your deathbed, no one's like, man, I wish I got another trophy or got this award or,
Got that
did this
promotion.
film, got this promotion, whatever. It's always about people, and there is no better investment than your kids, and how you get to live on through them and through your grandkids is so beautiful and amazing. And
so the ministry that is your family is
Yeah.
so impactful. And I know that as somebody who's raised in church, like you watch, like you can be like a family in ministry,
Yeah.
and not minister to your family.
Yeah.
And when you watch how those families crumble,
Yeah.
because the family wasn't seen as the ultimate ministry.
Yeah.
And so that's, for Caleb and I, that shifted like our entire perspective on family and parenting.
Yeah.
Of like, it doesn't matter what we do outside this household.
Yeah.
Like, we could be scraping by, but like, she's got to be the priority.
Yeah.
And her relationship with the Lord
Yeah.
and how we grow and all that has to be
Yeah.
the priority.
Yeah.
And when I look at parenthood like that, I so quickly stop, mourning
Yeah.
that old life or the previous life or the previous body
Yeah.
or any of that. Like, she doesn't care how my body looks. She
Yeah.
cares I'm healthy, but like she
Yeah.
doesn't care how my body looks. She doesn't care how cute I dress.
Yeah.
Like,
Thank God.
Yeah.
My kids either.
She doesn't care about my lively Friday night,
Yeah.
like, social life. And it just is so, for me, it's just crazy how quickly I'm like, oh, okay, I'm back.
Thank you so much for talking with me.
Thanks for asking me to do this.
Vulnerable and honest, and I learned a lot that I didn't know, so that was really fun. If no one has told you yet today, you are doing a good job. Thank you so much for watching, Mom Babes, and we'll see you next time.
Yes.
Bye. Good job. You said you were doing a good job. I didn't even coach you too.